Morris County Board of Commissioners will come to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Morning, everybody.
Morning, Mr. Chair.
Additions, deletions to the agenda. Tabitha?
Not at this time.
Hearing none. We get a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Casper, second by Commissioner Winchester to approve the agenda. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Approval of consent agenda. Is there anything on the consent agenda any one of you would like to remove for further discussion? Hearing none, could I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion made by Commissioner Moran. Second by Commissioner Blaine. Discussion? Hearing none, this will be a roll call. Commissioner Blaine?
Aye.
Commissioner Casper? Commissioner Winchester?
Aye.
Commissioner Moran?
Aye.
Myself, Commissioner Lemire, is aye. Motion carried. Next on the agenda is Camp Ripley Community Brief. Welcome, gentlemen.
Morning, everybody.
Morning, Colonel.
Good morning. Good morning.
We don't have a whole lot of different things to really address with you this morning, but I did want to make sure that we have this actual touch point with all of you, just kind of see and ask questions if you need to. But moving through the slides, Camp Ripley's mission, as you know, is something that we really strive to really provide the best customer service. That's our end state. That's our goal day in and day out, no matter who our customers are. That is really what we work towards. Obviously, the military training aspect of it all is truly really what we exist there for, is to train our soldiers, our airmen, our Marines, our Navy, just about any compo, any service comes to Camp Ripley to train. So that's really our primary focus, but always the customer service aspect of it all. Moving into some of the leadership at the top, we've got Major General Sean Mankey. He's our Adjutant General. He is my boss. And then the Command Chief Master Sergeant Lisa Erickson. She's the CCEL, our first air CCEL on the top of the enlisted side in the state of Minnesota, which we're pretty proud of. Moving on to the 34th ID, we have Major General Charles Kemper and his Command Sergeant Major Matthew Erickson. These gentlemen just returned from their mobilization, and they're going through current reintegration activities for another month or so before they're fully integrated back into their civilian jobs and their drilling status with the Minnesota Guard. And then obviously the Camp Ripley leadership, myself and my Command Sergeant Major Ryan Hofstad, which is here with me today, along with my Director of the Joint Visitors Bureau, Chief Itchy. He's kind of new to the team, so we kind of brought him along to kind of witness and see what we do in terms of these community updates and briefings. Moving on to our economic impact, this is really, stays pretty consistent through year over year for us, but just about nearly $83 million economic impact for what we do out at Camp Ripley. There is quite a bit of different things that occur. Obviously, our largest contributor is really all of the different construction projects and the things that we do in terms of infrastructure on the base. So that's really the big hit there at 21 million. And that ebbs and flows based on budgets and different things from the federal government. So moving on, our location, most of you all know where Camp Ripley is located. You can't miss it. It's off of 371 there. But really, I'd like to always highlight the level 2 training center capacity of what Camp Ripley really is in terms of a level 2 and what that brings to the state of Minnesota. There's only 5 levels of training centers out there. Number one being the highest, with number two basically being the same as a level one, with the exception that we don't mobilize soldiers from Camp Ripley. So a level one would be an example of Camp Shelby, Mississippi, Camp Atterbury, Indiana. Those stations or those training centers can mobilize soldiers from their training site. Camp Ripley currently is a contingent MFGI, which is a mobilization force generation installation. We have the capacity to do it, it's just that we're not on the immediate list to mobilize. Some of our accomplishments and events in 2024, just highlighting the second bullet on the slide here is something that we're pretty proud of. Camp Ripley Training Center was the third busiest training center across the nation in 2024, with nearly 558,000 man days, soldiers coming through the gate basically is what that counts. And then obviously about 71,000, nearly 72,000 state and local agencies coming through training at Camp Ripley. And again, I've mentioned Air Force, Navy, Marines, Coast Guard. We are seeing a larger increase in their usage of Camp Ripley from Compo 1 or active duty units. So we're excited about that. We're expanding more during our winter months with Navy dive teams, Coast Guard dive teams, different things like that. So we stay fairly busy throughout the year, which we'll get to a little bit with the meat and potatoes of some of the schedule this summer. Support to civil authorities, obviously you're well versed in how this process works, but the Guard typically will provide assistance to law enforcement to basically handle any kind of emergencies or natural disaster type things. But that process goes all the way up to the governor to be approved for us to be able to provide that support. The construction update, next slide is we're going to be looking at a new, I'll call it the new main gate, access control point. It will still stay on Highway 115, but it'll be further to the west of the original main gate where that's located now. It's going to cost right around about $17 million to put in that access control point, but what that does is it provides us all of the anti-terrorism force protection requirements of an installation. So that should start construction sometime in late 25, maybe early 26, but hope to have it fully open and operational by the end of 2027. Area 5 is just an area that we've been really focused on trying to upgrade, getting rid of all the tin huts and putting in basically year-round facilities for soldiers and units to train at Camp Ripley. Another one that we're working on is the pistol range. Our Alpha 2 range is going under a complete remodel to accommodate some of the qualification standards with the new pistol, the M17 Sig Sauer pistol, 9mm pistol that the Army has basically modernized away from the Beretta 9mm pistol that we've had for years. And then just continuing to renovate, sustaining things that we currently have. Our T buildings on Camp Ripley are pretty large barrack buildings that haven't been really touched for many years. So we're looking at kind of restoring, the facilities inside with new bathroom, toilet, sinks, showers, all of those types of things And then really probably the bigger piece of it all is the whole HVAC system and the ventilation system within the facilities. Looking at the museum update, if anybody's been on 371, I think you can easily see the progress that the museum is making. We are still looking at probably late or mid 2026 to have that facility opened up. They'll probably do maybe talking to Randall, the executive director for the museum, wants to maybe do kind of like a soft opening and then a grand opening type of thing. We'll see how all those plans develop, but we're pretty excited to have this 40,000 plus square foot facility compared to what we currently have on the actual base. So this will really be able to tell the story of all of our Minnesota Guardsmen and what they've done over the years. Next slide is really kind of the schedule for training. Obviously, April and June are looking like our high water mark in terms of throughput this year. We don't have any big exercises planned this year like we did last year. We had the XETC come through. But our busiest and our noisiest month is probably going to be the month of June, where a lot of the artillery units will come in and perform all of their tables to meet platoon level qualification. So we'll have many press releases or radio pieces or social media pieces communicating to the community when all these things will be occurring as well. Our state partners, obviously, we've got the DNR and the State Patrol permanent party on Camp Ripley, so we do quite a bit with those two state agencies. HSEM and Minnesota DOT, obviously, we still coordinate and work with all of those folks as well. They just don't have a permanent residence on the base. It works pretty well for us. They're housed under the same roof over at the Emergency Management Training Center on the base. And then they obviously run their academies through Camp Ripley as well with all of the billeting assets that we have there. And then moving on to the soldier and family programs, again, we've got resources on the base that many people, I don't think, realize that we have that can help soldiers, family members. So, if you know somebody that is in need, please have them reach out. We can put them in contact with these folks to help them out. Excuse me. Some of the community outreach, obviously, this year will be our Camp Ripley open house. That's biannual. We do it every other year. So this September, we'll be hosting our open house again, welcoming the community in, put their hands on pieces of equipment. There'll be a number of vendors. If you've been there before, you know what I'm talking about. It's a really good event. Obviously, we always hope for really good weather and that can be a really good day for visiting Camp Ripley. And then obviously we do these things, pretty much on an annual basis. But the other piece that I'll just touch on is the reformatting of the public hunt. It was a 3-day hunt before people were allowed to come on Camp Ripley and deer hunt. We've reformatted this whole thing to where it basically expands through the entire bow season, that you'll have access to come on Camp Ripley and hunt as long as you sign up into the iSportsman program and things like that. So we're pretty proud of that. That thing's going pretty well based on a lot of the comments we've received thus far. And then that's a good transition right into the environmental programs. We've got an award-winning team that continues to help us balance the environment, and military training. So pretty excited about what this team does every day. So, you know, we continue to, you know, push them to even get better at what they do. Obviously, that takes a little bit of sacrifice on the military side of things, because we've got to find that balance to still train, but still preserve our environment. So, and then some of their partners that they deal with on a regular basis are listed here on this slide. I think the Central Lakes College piece is I think really critical, bringing college kids onto Camp Ripley, helping some of our environmental teams do some of these things. I think really gives these kids really good hands-on, practical experience in doing environmental work. So we're pretty excited about that. And then moving into some of our prescribed burns, we're looking at just short of about 15,000 acres this year to burn. We've obviously had a little head start with some of the training that's been going on here in March. We've had a couple ranges already start on fire through, you know, tracers and different things like that. But all contained for the most part. We do communicate all of this as well to the community. And when we're going to do it, obviously, the weather conditions play a big part in when we actually do these things. But it is vital to balancing military training and what we do with the environment. So, and then the Army Compatible Use Buffer Program, and again, this is, you know, just greater than about 40,000 acres enrolled thus far. And the map on the right side just kind of shows you where these parcels are that surround Camp Ripley, so that we don't have encroachment onto the training base where people, you know, are building new homes or different things like that. And this is really, you know, to kind of help with some of the noise complaints and different things that occur around the training base itself. But again, this is what some of the things that the environmental team continually monitor, continually support us with. So it's a great program. And then our 3 R's, you know, the safety brief of everything, right? You can't have a military operation without talking about safety. But recognize, retreat, and report. If anybody were to ever come across unexploded ordnance, you know, obviously, you know, in the civilian world, call 911, report it, or just call Camp Ripley and we can support you with all those types of things. We've got a team that comes out of Duluth that specializes in all of this in terms of EOD and things like that. So please report if you come across something like this. Do not touch it. So other than that, that is my update for you this morning. Subject to any of your questions or dialogue.
Thank you, Colonel. Gentlemen, any questions? Commissioner Wincher.
Hopefully it's a simple question. You brought up 15,000 acres that you're doing these control burns. Someone asked me the other day and I didn't know the answer. How big is Camp Ripley?
Camp Ripley is just short of 53,000 acres. The cantonment, the garrison, is about 2,100 acres.
All right, thank you. Yeah, so 50, it's a large area.
It is, yep.
Mr. Casper?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Colonel Fink, did they recently, I thought I had heard word that they had opened a daycare up at camp. Is that a fact?
We actually have 3 individual daycare providers on Camp Ripley now. So my sergeant major can probably talk more. I mean, he's been the point of the spear on this whole program. But yes, we're pretty excited that we're offering daycare to the 800 to 1,000 employees on Camp Ripley.
Oh, very good. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Absolutely. Commissioner Blaine, got anything?
No, well, Mr. Chair, I'll just I'll just underscore, as I do, I think probably every year, what we need to make sure we recognize here is, you know, there's $83 million of economic impact that takes place because of Camp Ripley being a good neighbor of ours within the county. And I look at that, and I don't take that lightly, and I don't take lightly the impact of both the enlisted and service members at Ripley, but also the civilians many from our county who are employed there too. I'm grateful that, Colonel, that you are here, and Command Sergeant Major and your staff here with us today. It's always an honor to have you in our presence. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Casper?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, one more question. Referring to Mr. Winter, speaking of these controlled burns, can you explain to us why you do these controlled burns?
Right, well, it's half of it is maintaining some of the grasslands, right? And we do it annually so that a lot of these grasslands encroach into the actual maneuver space. So by burning it off, it helps us maintain targetry and different aspects. Whether they're, you know, dismounted infantry lanes, so they don't, you know, I can't remember what it's called. Josh just told me the other day, buckthorn or something, an invasive species that just kind of takes off.
Yeah.
Trying to manage that versus the training aspect.
Very good.
That's really why we do what we do
Very good.
with some of that.
And it's not just for deer ticks and wood ticks?
No.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Very good. Commissioner Moran?
So the last picture's the main gate there?
It is.
And you're talking about moving that whole thing west?
The actual gate will be maintained. So all of the stone, all of that actually belongs to Minnesota DOT. It's not actually Camp Ripley's property per se. So anything that happens to that stone wall either has to go through SHPO and Minnesota DOT and different things like that in terms of different repairs or things. But we plan on moving it to the west to where we'll put in a little bit more black granite as part of that new entry control point. But we won't be going in and out of that actual gate anymore. I do want to maintain the capability to move things through that gate if we need to. But we're in dialogue with Minnesota DOT on what they want to do. They want to create basically where you see all the soldiers standing in front of the gate. They're recommending that all becomes green space, and I'd like to maintain the hardball if I could. But we're in dialogue and discussions with those folks as well on what we can and can't do.
Thank you, Colonel, for being here today and giving us an update, and we appreciate everything you guys do, not only for our community, but for our state and for our nation, and we're forever indebted to you.
Appreciate all of you as well, and thanks for having us.
Cool. Have a great day.
Have a great day. God bless you folks.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Darren.
Could you state your name and where you're from for the record, please?
Sure. Darren Welly from Morse County Land Services.
Morning, Dick.
So I'm here to present our 2025 AIS grant program. So what you have in front of you is the recommended totals to be distributed to the various applicants that we received. We received $92,345 in requests, and then we have recommended $54,648 for the grants. Any questions that I can answer right away, or otherwise I can go into it in greater detail. But
Gentlemen?
Chair. Just to add to Darren's report, last week, following planning session, Darren, Amy, our Director of Land Services, along with the Chair and Commissioner Casper and myself, we met to discuss this plan in length. And I believe the total grant dollars received for 2025 was $50,000. That came to Morrison County, and in review of this program with that subcommittee, this is the proposal to come before the board.
Could I get a motion and a second to
I
approve?
make a motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Winter, second by Commissioner Casper. Discussion? I just want to say, just as Matt said, this is a yearly grant application that we go through. It's usually set at $50,000 plus the dollar amounts that's returned from the previous year, and I believe this was a total of $51,200, something like that. It was, and we did go over by 3,000 just for the fact that they had Sullivan Lake and Shemina have ambassador programs, and they're very expensive. So we didn't take all of their asking away. We gave them a small portion of what they were asking away, which added a little more to our want, with the fact that we're going to let them know that next year they might not get anything for their ambassador program. They're the only two lakes within Morrison County that have this ambassador program, and we didn't just want to cut them off cold turkey because it's been a successful program for them. Any other questions? Is this a roll call or anything?
Let's do that, Mr. Chair, yeah.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. No further discussion. This will be a roll call. Commissioner Casper?
Aye.
Commissioner Winter?
Aye.
Commissioner Moran?
Aye.
Myself, Commissioner Lemire, aye. Commissioner Blaine?
Aye.
Motion carried. You got anything else?
I have nothing else. Thank you all.
Thank you so much for everything you did on this.
For all your work and have a great day. Thank you.
Administrator's report.
Not to Mr. Chair, pending anything that the board needs from me.
Gentlemen, got anything for Administrator LeBlanc?
Just a quick question, any more update on Sergeant Ruckstead?
Not any more than, he's recovering, and,
Okay.
but I'll just not mention too much more about it.
Okay,
I
thank
heard him
you.
on the radio the other night.
Yep.
It's good.
Good. That's a good sign. Thank you.
Anything else? We get the dates, Tabitha?
March 16th through March 29th.
March 16th through the 29th. I believe it was Commissioner Winter last time, so we'll go to Commissioner Moran.
Today, March 11th, is Township Day. Get out to your townships, different elections going on across the county. March 18th, I have a law library meeting at noon. And March 19th, Hands of Hope, Zoom meeting at 5.
Okay. 17th, St. Patty's Day. 18th, planning session, 8:30. PCBOA, 6 o'clock.
And if I just want to remind, there is no PC, just the Board of Adjustment that night.
And they're both in my district. Bobby.
Bucky.
19th, I have a public health advisory, 5 o'clock, boardroom. It's also, Drew's gonna have an informational meeting on recycling with the townships, I believe. That's at 6:30, here in the boardroom. 20th, we have a safety meeting, 2 o'clock, Pierce Conference Room. 25th, Teams meeting, board meeting, Commissioner board meeting. The 26th, I believe I have an HRA at 9 o'clock, but I'm not positive. I should have. I'll let you know if I don't, okay?
Okay.
That's all I got, gentlemen. Commissioner Blaine? Yeah, it is the 26th.
On Thursday, the 20th, the Egg Society will meet at 7 PM. On the following Thursday, the 27th, at 6 PM, Region 5 Economic Development Commission will meet at 6 PM. That's all I have.
Commissioner Casper?
I just have a couple things, Mr. Chair. On Friday, the 21st, MHB up at Walker at 9 o'clock. That meeting is moved a week forward because a share of us will be attending the AMC Leadership Summit up at Grandview on the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the 26th, 27th, and 28th, up at Grandview Lodge, Brainerd. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Yes.
Commissioner Winter.
You got most of mine, other than on the Friday, the 28th, I have a soil and water at 8 o'clock.
Awesome.
And that'll do it.
Got anything else, gentlemen?
I think that's-
Hearing none, the Morris County Board of Commissioners meeting is adjourned.